think we'll probably just get started and folks will jump in if we're going to have more folks. So it looks like we're a small group, which is exciting. Lots of easy access for questions. I'm Susan Pleiner, and I am the director of the Center for Teaching and Learning. I'm also a first-year seminar faculty member. And I'm delighted that you're joining us this evening. I imagine that you are both excited and perhaps maybe filled with a little bit of trepidation and perhaps a little tinge of sadness about either leaving home or having your child leave home to start their first semester or just beginning your first semester at school. So we have prepared a short video, a short presentation for you, just to introduce you to the Center for Teaching and Learning, what we have available for you all, and then we'll really leave it open for dialogue and for a question and answer period. But we'll give you kind of the broad strokes of the Center for Teaching and Learning, and hopefully you'll get a sense of what's available for you all. But before I get started, I wanted to introduce you to two of my colleagues in the Center for Teaching and Learning. Ruth Shields is the Associate Director. You want to say hi, Ruth?
Hello. I'm also teaching at FSEM this semester as well.
Yeah. And Kristen Davis is our Coordinator of Disability Services. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Kristen Davis. I've spoken with some of you. I help all the students on campus with accommodations related to academics, housing, and meal plan.
Thank you. So we have kind of a broad swath here. This isn't the entire staff of the Center for Teaching and Learning, but we can certainly represent all that we do. So I'm going to share my screen. I did want to also make sure that you knew that this session is being recorded. So it will be made available for folks that weren't able to attend the session today, just so that you know that your questions will also be recorded. And then Ruth is going to monitor the chat. So if you have a question that arises when I'm talking and you want to ask a question, Ruth will monitor that and we'll make sure to answer your questions as we go along. So I'm going to share my screen and give you a kind of a brief overview of the Center for Teaching and Learning. Okay, so the CTL we're located on the second floor of the library. I'm actually in my office right now in the library. I would give you a tour, but we're not really put together quite yet, but we will be ready when the semester starts. So in the CTL, we do three things. We provide academic enrichment for students. We have disability services. Kristen just introduced herself. And we also do faculty development. And what we mean by faculty development is we support faculty as well as students. So faculty might be wanting to redo their courses. They want to try out a new teaching methodology, and they will ask for some support around that. We read together, we write together. There's all sorts of ways that we support faculty. I'm not going to talk more than that about faculty development unless you have questions, but we will talk about academic enrichment and disability services. And I'm going to introduce you to four of our main peer-to-peer academic support programs. So for content, we don't do one-on-one tutoring. Instead, we have a model and a philosophy of kind of collective, collaborative learning in a kind of inquiry base, right? So that we're engaging in peer-to-peer conversations and meetings that are based on the learning process, how to learn in that discipline, how to engage with text, how to engage with the writing. And so our teaching fellows operate as content specialists, but in that kind of peer-to-peer inquiry-based model. And they operate, Ruth, it's in 12 departments now? 13?
11, but chemistry has 2 different departments. Function has 2 different departments.
Yeah. So in 11 of our departments, we have teaching fellows that work with the faculty. The faculty actually nominate them, and then they apply for a position in the Center for Teaching and Learning as teaching fellows.
Susan, can you change the slides?
Pardon me?
Can you rotate your slides?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to talk about teaching fellows, writing fellows, study mentors, and study tables. And I think one of the most important points of our peer-to-peer support is that we are actually enrichment and not remediation. And sometimes that's a switch from high school to college that we think about when we go to a learning center. It's really about remediation. You have to not be doing well in order to engage. At our campus, all of our peer-to-peer academic support programs are really enrichment based. And over 60% of our students make use of of one or more of our programs. So it's part of the fabric and fiber of how we study and learn here. Okay, so why would you want to use the CTL services?
Susan, can you change the slides though? You're still on the first slide.
Ah, that's so interesting. I'm actually changing them.
Maybe if you put it in view.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Can you see this slide now? Why use it? Huh, okay. Apologize for that. So this was the slide I was just talking about. Now we're going to talk a little bit about why I use the CTL services. The services actually will help you spend less time struggling and more time studying, right? So you be more efficient and effective as learners. We teach the students how to meet your professor's assignments and expectations, right? So sometimes it's all in how you read the assignment. And what differs between high school and college is that in high school, every assignment is supported all the way through. And in college, faculty oftentimes will give you the syllabus at the beginning of the semester. You know what your assignments are, you know when they're due, and they'll give you instructions on that, but then that's up to you to kind of understand those instructions and then meet those expectations. So one of the things that we do at the Center for Teaching and Learning is help you to understand what the professors are asking and then how to meet those expectations. We teach students how to find and refine your learning patterns. You know, you're all going off to college, or your students are going off to college, so they've been successful, but the ways that they've been successful in high school may shift and change in classes here because the environment has shifted and changed. So what might have worked in high school may no longer be working. And so our study mentors often work with students about how to shift and find and develop strategies that work in particular disciplines, in particular courses. And then also for you to become more efficient and make time for your other interests, because there's so much that's happening on campus, clubs and theater and dance and sports. So we want to make sure that your studying happens in a way that is efficient so that you can take advantage of all of the college experience has to offer. Okay, so our teaching fellow, 11 departments. These are the departments where they operate, and the teaching fellows are supported both by the Center for Teaching and Learning and also by the faculty in their department. So the faculty in these 11 departments have decided to participate in the Teaching Fellow program, and so they work collaboratively with Ruth to select teaching fellows that both excel in their content areas, but also excel in their ability to engage with their peers. And then they are trained rigorously and supported rigorously by Ruth. And they work in the evenings, 5 days a week, and as support. And so they're drop-in hours, right? So you don't need to make appointments, you can just drop in. Many of these departments operate differently. Some students will go if they feel like they have questions, and they'll study or they'll go and they'll ask their questions. Other students will meet friends from class and say, hey, let's go ahead and meet at chemistry teaching fellows, and so we can work on our problems to set together, and then we can ask questions if we need to. And other departments actually operate as a kind of a community of learners, right? So that you have upper class students that will go that actually aren't making specific use of the teaching fellows, but they know that everybody in that room is going to be studying physics. So these are the 11 departments that operate in teaching fellows. Our study tables are small group sessions that provide content support for a specific course. So departments that don't have teaching fellows, the faculty members will request a study table. This happens in a number of different ways. So faculty might say, listen, this is a theory course, and students sometimes struggle with the level of the theory. And so I want a study table so that students have access to read theory and discuss theory together. Other faculty members will ask for a study table because there's a section of their class that they think might be a little bit more difficult and they want students to have support. So study tables might operate for an entire semester, or they might operate for a period of time during the semester. But both faculty and students can request a study table, and then Ruth, again, will work with the faculty to select a study table facilitator. Those facilitators are also trained and supported by the Center for Teaching and Learning. And those will be advertised if they're in one of your courses. The faculty member will tell you about the study table, will introduce you to the hours, and tell you how to access them. We also have writing fellows. The writing fellows are students that have actually gone through our writing colleague program. So they are nominated by faculty members to be writing colleagues. They apply to the writing colleague program that is operated out of our writing and rhetoric program. And if they are selected as writing colleagues, they take a course in writing and rhetoric to prepare themselves. And then they do 2 placements. Usually their first placement is in a first-year seminar. Like I have a writing colleague placed in my first-year seminar, and they will work with students, a faculty member, and students in the class to make sure that the students' writing is meeting the expectations of the assignments. And so I build the writing colleague into my class as a first-year, for all the first-year writing. So every writing assignment that I assign, there'll be multiple steps to that writing assignment, and one of those steps is working with the writing colleague. And after the writing colleagues have done 2 placements, then they can apply to become writing fellows, and we select and hire writing fellows out of that pool. And they work in the Center for Teaching and Learning, and they can work with any student. And the great part about the writing fellows is that they are trained and supported by Ingrid Keenan in our Center for Teaching and Learning to work with writing at any point at the process. So like you get an assignment and you're like, I don't understand the assignment. You can go see a writing fellow and they'll help you parse out the assignment so you can start writing. Or you have all the way to the very end where you have a finished product, a finished paper, and you want somebody to make sure that your thesis holds up and you have enough evidence to support your thesis. So they can work with students all the way across the spectrum of the writing process. And those are by appointment, and those are one-to-one writing appointments. We oftentimes have drop-in sessions, but that will be a little bit different this year. So, and then study mentors, this is in particular a great program for our entering first-year students, because these are really peer mentors that have been trained to support students in developing their study strategies, right? Managing your time. So in high school, you get to school by 7:30, you go to school till 3:30, then you have something extracurricular after school or work. The days are pretty much structured. In college, if you take 4 classes, you're in classes 12 hours a week, unless you're in a lab class, and that's a little bit longer. But 12 hours is not, then you have to figure out how to manage your time around that. So the study mentors have all been trained to help support students in managing their time, to work with them about how to read different types of texts, research articles, primary resources, literature. So they've been trained to help them to figure out reading strategies to be the most efficient and effective that they can. So we expanded our study mentor program 2 years ago to include an athletic study mentor program. And so in all of our varsity teams, we also have a team member who has been selected and also trained and hired to be an athletic study mentor. So they're embedded in the team. So if you have an athlete coming to participate in a varsity sport, they will have a dedicated study mentor for that team. And then disability services, Kristen talked to you a little bit about that. Disability services provides accommodations to students with disabilities. And we work with all entities on campus to ensure accessibility. So if a student is coming with a type of disability and that might impact them both academically, in housing or dining, that would go through our office as well. And we can answer any questions about that. So I'm sorry about the first couple of slides that I whipped through that you didn't see, but that's a pretty big picture of the Center for Teaching and Learning, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Okay.
Susan, there's a question for Kristen. It's how does someone request specific disability accommodations? If you want to point them in the right direction.
Go ahead, Kristen.
They would reach out to my office. There was a portion of the online orientation portal where the student would have clicked a button and filled out a form that would have come to me. The student would then submit documentation. In the form, they got an email back that with links that on our website that outlined the documentation that we were looking for. That is then submitted. The student and I then meet after I've reviewed the documentation that first week of classes once they've been to every class once, and we decide together what accommodations are fair and reasonable to them. We draft letters for the professors, and then they submit those letters. If you have already sent stuff to me, I was out of the office for a few weeks, so I have been backed up. I'm attempting to catch up now and should be shortly. So it's possible that I might have received your documentation or email if you've submitted it, and I'm just trying to get to you.
Great. Thanks, Kristen. There's also a question in here about professor requested study tables mandatory. They are not mandatory. None of our services are mandatory. So it's a really great question because students have to want to make use of any one of our services, right? Or offerings, our academic enrichment offerings. So a faculty member might say, here's a study table. I highly recommend that you attend the study table. Because, you know, Jane has taken this class, we've worked together, and she can help support you in your learning in this class. But it is completely up to the student whether they want to attend or not. There are no requirements.
With the exception of a potential first year that might require you to use either a service at CTL or go to, for a part of assignment, to go to a writing fellow, not necessarily for that class, or go to career services or something like that. There's some FSM faculty members that do strongly encourage students to do that with an assignment attached to it.
Do folks have some other questions for us?
Any questions for disability services or CTL as a whole can go to ctl@hws.edu, and then from there they get sent to the person that covers that portion of the office.
So Jessica, that's a great question. So what kind of first session are you thinking about? Are you thinking about with disability services, or are you thinking about like any one of our services?
If it is for disability services, as I meet with students, then I've been offering Zoom meetings to the people that I have gotten documentation for, have gone through, and have contacted. I offer them a Zoom meeting link. I can meet with them and their families to go through the accommodation process, and I usually share the same information that Susan has tonight about the CTL as a whole. Some students choose not to make the Zoom meeting, and those students, anybody that sends in documentation, I send a link to, usually a little closer to the start of the semester, as well as all students on campus to make an appointment with me should they need accommodations. If the student needs a housing or meal plan accommodation, we're a little late in the game for that, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. They should send an email to ctl@hws.edu to see if they qualify for that and what exactly they might need.
Right, and our peer-to-peer academic resources are not available until after the semester starts, right? So we usually start up in the first week or two of the semester, after everybody's classes get started, and students know what's expected of them, but also our peer leaders, our academic leaders are also settled into their courses. So the writing fellows and teaching fellows and study mentors, they don't start until the semester starts. Disability services, that's, Kristen just talked about that, but you can certainly make an appointment.
I don't meet with students for accommodations until they've been to every class once. So we send out the link a little closer to orientation, because they'll go to orientation, they'll schedule their 4th class, and then they'll schedule the meeting with me to happen once they've been to all of those classes once.
Right. Right.
So nobody's behind. We're all in perfect pace right now.
Yeah, right. If there's something specific, like a piece of equipment that's necessary, upon arrival, that would be something we would want to know in advance, of course, but to meet with your son.
Britta, so if you send in the disability release form, yeah, we would require some other documentation. You can send me an email, or your student should, at ctl@hws.edu. If they filled out the portal, though, which is probably where they got the release form, then they got an email to their HWS account already, and it provided the links to our website, and on there you can also find the documentation that is required. So we break it down by learning disability, if it's a mental health related disability, if it's a physical disability, there's different things we're looking for. But again, you can email me if you have specific questions as well, or somebody else might be able to answer it too. So just email ctl@hws.edu.
I can well imagine also that you're anxious. It's a big step, and that's why we're here to answer any questions that folks might have for support. It's a different time too. It's going to college. Going to college for the first time is intense for anybody, and then it's a different time. So, I imagine that folks might be anxious about it. I will just assure everyone that we have a lot of support to offer for academics. Your students or you as students, you need to seek it out. It's really easily accessible. All the information is available on our website, but also we will have, you will have access to the CTL as soon as our staffing is back up in full swing as well. And we're here to help you. So, if you want the help, we're here to help you. We will not require you to get help. That's all on you. Are there any students actually on the session, or are you all parents? I'm just curious. You're a student, Zach? You're a student? Ah, great. Okay, great, Zach and Britta. Welcome. We're so excited that you're coming. And so I just want to assure you that we have what you need to be successful. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip though, okay? So don't wait until it's too late, right? So remember the slide, if you saw it, that we said 60% of our students use one or more of our services. The reason why that's important is that it really is a shift. Faculty expect for you to be the best student that you can be, right? They want you to learn and they want to support you to learn. And they know that there's all these resources available for you to get that kind of support. So if you're not seeking it out and you need to seek it out, or you could be better, they know that. So, and their expectation is that you're doing that as an individual that's here to learn, that you'll be doing that. So, it's part of who we are as an institution. It isn't a remedial, like, it's only available for a certain population of students that are struggling in a particular area. It's open for everyone. And what we often used to say about our peer students is like, there might be a teaching fellow who's an excellent student in chemistry because they're a science thinker, right? But they're at a liberal arts college too, and they're taking a philosophy class. So they might be a teaching fellow in chemistry, but they might be going to the teaching fellows in philosophy because they're learning to think in a different way. Philosophers and chemists think differently, or study differently. So that's just part of how we operate. Ruth, did you want to add anything on?
I was just going to say, we often joke with our writing fellows because they wait till their senior year to take their quantitative class, and then they flood the teaching fellows, which is great to see because the teaching fellows are often in their hours getting support around writing. So it's really fun to see two really strong academic students supporting each other where they think they're not as strong.
It's awesome. Thank you. Is there something that we didn't talk about that you folks think that you might need or want? All right. Well, if there aren't any further questions, we will let you get on with your Wednesday night. We're super excited to welcome you to campus. Zach and Britta, we're super excited about it. And we're looking forward to meeting you. Oh, not looking forward to get on campus. Well, you might not be getting on campus if you're deciding to stay at home, but you will still be on campus in your classes, and all of our peer support are also available. So, whether you're here or you're on campus. Oh, you are coming. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's just change. It's just a change, and it's just going to be different. Okay. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and close us out, unless Kristen or Ruth, you want to add something else in that I might have missed. It is like 150 degrees in my office right now, so I'm both dealing with heat and trying to think at the same time, and I clearly have struggled. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your summer, next couple of weeks, and happy packing.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Reach out if you need anything. Bye, folks.
Bye.